Today we're taking this 150-year-old chestnut wood, we're building a table, and then we're giving it away. All right, we're making a 40-inch by, the top's 40 inches by 7 feet. So I already milled this stuff just shy of 8 feet. All kidding aside, you just want to lay out the 7 feet before we start joining them and then seeing kind of what we want to do.
Yeah, that's fine.
So the design for this table came from Mel Morris, a good friend of mine, a friend of the shop, from a table that he got inspired and did a design work on, and we're going to use it for this build. That's 43. We're losing a lot on that.
Oh yeah.
There's a knot. I mean, we can join it and then rip it on the table saw if we want. That knot's not in play. Yay! I'll tell you what, you can join and I'll rip.
A Soldier's Journey Home is a 100% volunteer-run nonprofit organization. In the aftermath of 9/11, after giving support and love from the country, a collection of New York City firefighters wanted to give back. So in 2014, they began their mission to build one mortgage-free, fully accessible home for a combat-injured veteran every year. And they do it in 12 days.
I'm supposed to be working on the charity build right now. I left everybody inside. I don't even know what to say.
So we're at 44 3/4.
Yeah, we have to be at 40. So they want 7 foot and 40.
right, so
I didn't come up with those
What do you have
dimensions.
right now?
The question comes, do we plane it down a little more?
Or is
And
it, when
take-
we do the final surfacing, is going to take care of it?
I mean, we're so close at this point from a planing perspective.
I know.
I don't think we're going to be able to throw it on the CNC to flatten it.
Okay.
Okay. Start cutting.
So you want to be approximately in the middle to where your domino is going to be. I always, which we'll do, we'll have our X's on this side because we always want to make sure that's our face up. As long as we're coming from our X'd sides and we're putting our domino up a little bit from the bottom, we're all going to be identical and it's going to hold it rigid.
Okay, so this side would be exact and this side would be float.
Once I do the first one, then I'm going to come back down. This pin is going to go in the last hole and you pull it tight.
Did you set that at 200 knowing that you're going to have proper spacing on the other end?
No, I just kind of guessed.
This year's recipient is retired Army Corporal Taylor Harder. Taylor was a combat engineer based out of Fort Stewart, Georgia, and deployed to Iraq around the 2007-2008 timeframe. His primary mission was to find IEDs and destroy them before they could cause harm. In January 2008, he was severely injured by a 500-pound IED that unfortunately also killed his platoon mate. After multiple surgeries and more than a year of rehab, he was released from the Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington, D.C. However, due to significant nerve damage to his foot that made it painful and difficult to walk, he and his doctor made the decision to amputate his leg.
That's a stretcher. Well, that's not right. Okay, the stretcher is supposed to be 77.5 inches. That is 77.5. I couldn't have cut that any better.
I think it's official. I have ADD.
The table is supposed to be 7 feet long. The whole time I've been saying 70 inches because my brain computed, not that I don't know that 7 times 12 is 84, but 7 feet, 70 inches? Does that make sense? With 150-year-old irreplaceable wood. I guess I'm gonna go to Free State and see if he has any chestnut. And while I'm on my way, I'm gonna call
Brian and say, Brian, I don't know the difference between 7 feet and 70 inches. And maybe he'll come teach me how to do breadboard ends, because hell if I know how to do it. Do you remember in like Wayne's World when they do the I want to go back like 2 weeks when Kendall said, it's going to go great, there's going to be no problems. I'll be back.
All right, by now, blood pressure's down, feeling so much better, because if you've been following the channel, you know one of our closest friends in the shop is Brian Graham of Brendel Restorations. And our local Festool rep, I called him legitimately crying on the phone, and he came right over, and he is going to help us put breadboard ends on this and, quite honestly, save the project.
Looking at what we've got, 12's good, but 14 is better.
Do we want to take it down an inch per, or just leave it?
It's up to you.
But if I cut them both to 7, we're done.
Right.
Okay.
Brian really is the bomb. We literally would be sunk without him.
In most cases, you see he got big boards, and you're through the main boards. That's what you want to look for. Don't want to be in a joint.
So these are the exact, just like we did before.
Right. And then this is the float.
So I remember everything that he said. Everything's pre-drilled. We've got to mount the breadboard ends on. Let's center this on the table, which is 8 foot long. Now that we know we're going to have a 7-foot table, we're going to go ahead, and this is This is the floating side, right? We made sure to put glue on here, so we knew that this is the one we glue. So we glue the center one, but we don't glue the others. Everything else floats, and then we've already drilled the holes. You know what? It's gonna make more sense when we do it. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw old t-shirt pieces down as rags, because our pipe clamps are iron pipes and they're black. Pro tip, don't buy black iron pipe. It stains the wood. Don't ask us how we know. Now look at that, holes from the brad point. So we already have the hole here that we marked with the brad point, and we're gonna wanna go 1/16 of an inch towards the table. That way when we drive this dowel in, it's gonna kind of get forced over and act as leverage. Then I'm gonna come in here, like I said, 1/16 of an inch off. Because we want to leave room for movement, is we have to elongate these holes. I do not have a rasp set, but what I do have is this Dremel set, and the Dremel set has a carbide cutter. So I'm gonna make a master dowel. I'm gonna mark one, and I'm gonna go back to my miniatures days again and get my scissor clipper thingies. Last thing we're gonna do before we pound these things home is we're gonna go over the belt sander, and we're gonna round the edge, make it easier to get it in there. Here goes nothing, and I mean really nothing. All right, time to do the other side. Hell yeah. Okay, so as you know by now, this project's had a lot of challenges. None of them were terribly insurmountable, but they were huge gut kicks. It's what happens when we do a project, especially one that we've never done before, but this one is special. This one is for charity, and we take the charity builds so seriously here in the shop. It's really been a pressure cooker for a lot of stuff, and I didn't think it was that big of a pressure cooker until we came to this moment. This is it right here. Getting ready to cut the lap joints for the arm and the leg assembly. It doesn't get any more real than this. I have been procrastinating now for almost 12 hours. I started last night. I actually have done multiple dry runs using the templates to make sure that my spacing is right. But this isn't how the legs go together, and I don't have any leftover material to create an actual true mock-up. I guess in retrospect, I could have glued these together and made templates to make sure it's right. I guess we're at a point now, there's nothing left but to do it, and I'm terrified. Here's hoping. We're not done. I just want to see if it actually fits. Just a skosh off on this side, but so far so good. Okay, just got to take that piece out with the chisel. There's just enough in there for some glue. Now we just got to make it the right height. Okay, keep going up. First test cut on the upper stretcher. No shit. Well, keep at it. There has to be an easier way.
We asked the communications director of A Soldier's Journey Home, Sharon, what some of her favorite things are working with A Soldier's Journey Home. She said there were two things. First, she said the people, citing that we are truly a family. We pick up a new family member every year on each one of our builds. Second had to be the mission. She says, everyone has a part in what we do in some way, and all of it is a benefit to our veterans who've given so much on behalf of our country.
Alrighty, we're kind of at a turning point in the project where it's either gonna go or it's not gonna go. We're at the lap joints, the final lap joints for the bottom stretcher and the feet. With this complex curve and everything that's going on, I have done so many templates and so many test cuts. I even marked the templates. Don't ask me how we made this mistake, but this is kind of our laces out Finkel thing. I mean, if you know, you know. Let's cut some lap joints. So this project's totally morphed, right? It was supposed to be initially a single piece that we couldn't, but then we went the Chestnut route. And so it was gonna be paneled. And then I cut it too short. So we breadboard ended it. The original design calls for a chamfer. I made this sample. I'm not quite sure how chamfers are gonna look with a breadboard end, but when I hold it up over here, it doesn't look bad. We've traced it, we've got the router set up. One of the coolest things on this project, other than making it, of course, is we were given this challenge coin. If you don't know what challenge coins are, you know what? I could spend an entire video discussing challenge coins, and the team isn't gonna let me do that. But we're gonna put this in the table. I decided we were gonna put it on the upper stretcher.
So what I did was I went and I put it on the drill press after measuring it and saw that it was a 2-inch hole. So now I figure if we put it right here, it's just a reminder to Taylor and his family every time they sit down at this table, how they got it. Stone Coat countertops, Art Coat to the rescue. We could have used anything for this, any of their products, but we definitely don't need casting. Casting's gonna take too long to set up, and the countertops and the Art Coats set up in 24 hours, and we're up against the window, right? So we want a 24-hour product. Art Coat will act exactly like a casting resin. Little mechanical etching. I sealed the inside with CA glue so we wouldn't get any air out of it. We have to fill this dot here, something we don't do around here very often. Take our time.
Okay, so here's where we are. The most exciting yet nerve-wracking portion of the entire project, the finish work. I've got a Fuji Mini Mite 3 Platinum sprayer. Why is it exciting? Because it's exciting because we get to see exactly how this table is gonna finish out. Why is it nerve-wracking? I'm still learning to use this thing. This is not my forte, but we're gonna give it a try. We did a couple practice pieces. We're gonna put 3 coats per side of General Finishes High Performance satin version. They donated it to the project along with their Seal-A-Cell, and we cannot thank them enough, so thank you, General Finishes. But I guess I'm stalling. What do you say we spray? I already have our coats of Seal-A-Cell on, so before we spray, I almost forgot one more thing. With the bottom sprayed, now we're gonna turn our attention towards how we're gonna attach the base to the top. Picked up these figure 8 clips, really simple to use. Grabbing a 3/4 inch Forstner bit, gonna drill some holes. Then all we gotta do is line it up. We're really down the home stretch, aren't we? It's kind of surreal. Oh, and another thing, how do you tell people that you're a paramedic without telling them you're a paramedic?
This project was awesome, but I'm so ready to be done. Alrighty, it's time to mount it. We're gonna grab some tape, because I know this thing's gonna move. So we know we're good. 2 1/4 at the chamfer. It's 2 3/8. We'll just. Bye-bye tape.
Okay, I don't know what Apple Maps has done to me here. The last 5 miles of the trip are up and down a winding mountain road. I'm doing 5 miles an hour. It's almost like a 1-lane road of all gravel and pitches. And I'm watching the trailer bounce up and down in the back. And look, I brought the sprayer with me just in case something happened. This is not what I planned for. I'm hoping I don't have to spray the table here. Oh, but don't get me wrong.
The scenery is exquisite, but I am absolutely terrified right now to what's happening.
It's actually in one piece. Oh, still in one piece. Hey.
Watch. How we do?
It's my great pleasure to be here today representing the more than 130 volunteers from 15 states who've given up their time away from family and work to help pay it forward once again. This house was built in only 12 days with the blood, sweat, commitment, and love of these men and women, and with the outstanding support of many members of this local community. Our deepest thanks to all of you.
I want to take a moment and thank A Soldier's Journey Home for letting us be part of their adventure. It was super, super fulfilling. Make sure you check them out. The link to their website is going to be down in the description. And also want to thank all of the master creators that came in here and helped us part of this project. I cannot wait to see what we can do for them next year. See you next time.